John from whatchawearin.com, and in this video I'm going to give you a fairly in-depth review of the Apple S2 Smartwatch. So here we have it, and I'll just kick off with a quick overview of the hardware. That is the charger. It's magnetic. It just attaches to the back. It's not bad. It's fairly strong magnet, I should say, and it holds on pretty well, and you get a wall charger along with the USB port, so you can charge it through a regular outlet or your USB. This is the basic model. It is the S2. It's 42 millimeter. It's got the rubber band. I like a lot about this watch, especially how it functions as a smartwatch. My biggest problem is just design-wise. I think it really looks like a fitness watch. It's not something I would wear out. You know, I think there are much nicer, more stylish smartwatches like Tag Heuer, which is fairly expensive, although some Apple watches are expensive, as well as Fossil has some really nice designs. Michael Kors, even the Samsung Gear S3 Classics, and pretty nice. They all have the round dials, which is my preference. But if you really like the rectangle sort of more fitness look, then that's great. In terms of how the watch actually functions as a smartwatch, I'm quite pleased with this. I think it's quite a good smartwatch. So the first thing you'll notice is how crisp the graphics are with the S2. I mean, it's much crisper than Android Wear. The sensitivity of the screen is very good. It's very responsive. It's quick. The gestures are quite responsive. So, you know, the screen goes off when your wrist is turned away, and then when you turn your wrist toward your face, the time will appear fairly quickly. So overall, in terms of your real basic functions, it performs well. There's nothing more annoying than screens that are meant to swipe that don't swipe very well. I find that's a bit of a problem with some of the Android Wear watches, but you don't have that so much here. All right, so let's jump into a few of the key apps, and you can take a look and see how the user interface is and how they function. I'll start off with the email. So I'm inside an email message here. You can use the dial on the side on the right there to scroll up and down, or you can swipe up and down. When you're in an email message, then just push down on the screen and you'll get your options to do whatever it is you want to do with that email. Next up, I'll just quickly show you the text messaging, which is right down here, the little green with the little bubble. So once you're in, and I kind of skipped a step there just because I've got a lot of messages from other people and protect their privacy, but once you're in, you just press down the screen and you'll get the option to add a contact. Otherwise, you can carry on the threads of any existing text threads you have going on. To get back to the main app, we just, the app page, we just hit that. It's kind of like functions as a back button. Next up, let's take a look at the Maps. Maps is really cool on this. I have to say, I really like this, and it's cool because there's a GPS built in. There's a lot of stuff that this couldn't do if it weren't for the GPS, so I think it's really neat. It functions a lot like my Garmin GPS in the car. Okay, so here we are. It's got my location. Obviously, you know, if I went for a walk or something, you'd see the dot move. This is just the tip of the iceberg. We can press down the screen, and we can check out transit. I haven't really used the contacts. We can search for locations, but this is where the GPS is kind of cool. So we can check out different options nearby. This is really great if you're in a, you know, if you're not familiar with the city. So if we went into food and I wanted to find a coffee shop, it'll load, and that took about 5 seconds, and we have a list of various coffee shops. I go here quite a bit. And there we are. We get all the information that we're going to need to get there. So that's pretty cool. And this is definitely GPS, and it's a nice function to have on your watch. So now we're just going to get out of the map, get back to our app page, and next let's check out the calendar, which is the top right there with the date. There we are. So this has a number of different views you can set. Currently this just shows the next event in the calendar, but if you press it down, then you can have it in list view, day view, and today. So you get a lot of options. So it's quite an excellent calendar as well. You get these options. It's easy to use, and it's a handy way to find out what's happening on any particular day or week. Again, get back to the apps, we just click down like that. In terms of the phone, now I got a problem with the phone. Okay, so you can go ahead and easily call contacts and recent calls and even access your voicemail, but it doesn't have a keypad, which means you can't just dial in a non-contact. Now there is an app you can buy. Unfortunately, you have to buy it. I think it's called Watch Keypad. It's in the iOS store, and you can download that. You'll want to download that through the Watch app on your phone, and because then that'll work for the watch. That's where you want to download all apps, is you want to make sure you access the App Store through the Watch app on your phone. And so then you get a keypad, and then you can dial in any number. I've used the phone on here. I've received calls, and it works really well. It's loud enough for me, and the other people on the other end, they told me that they heard me just fine. So using the watch as the actual phone worked really well. I have no complaints about it. Okay, I'm not going to go through everything here. I think the last one that we'll cover is our... Okay, this is the activity. This is the reporting aspect of the health app. So we can see what's happening for the day. I think the whole user interface is really nice. It gives you a good synopsis of the information as to what's going on. And then if you actually wanted to do a workout, you would hit that. And this is the outdoor run, and we could choose something else, whatever it is we wanted to do. Okay, and that's how you use this as tracking your workouts. And we also have the heart rate. Now, it's not on my wrist, so I don't think it's going to give me a real-time reading, but this is really cool, because when it's on your wrist, I'll actually take a reading right away. Now here's the weird thing, and I found the same thing with the Samsung. The heart rate sensor works really well when you're still, when you're not moving. Just keep your arm still. It's fairly accurate. I've tested it against chest strap heart rate monitors, and it's accurate. But as soon as you start running or your arm's moving around and falling about, then the heart rate monitor is not so accurate. In fact, in most cases, it doesn't even read and able to give you a heart rate reading. So I'm not really sure how that's super helpful. Let's say if you're running, I guess when you're running, you'd have to stop and then get a reading and then carry on. You also have here photo management, so you can control the photos through the app itself, which photos show up, and you can have a little photo album on there. And that's pretty much it. We've got Skype. I'm in Canada, so I've got a realtor.ca app for this. That's not bad. And a few other stopwatches and so forth. I think there's an alarm. This is my gym app, which is kind of cool that it syncs with my gym app. But there's a lot of other apps. Obviously, I didn't download a whole lot from the App Store for the watch, but there's a lot more functionality, like to-do lists and so on and so forth. So I will end with a quick Siri demonstration. Weather. And you'll see it's responsive in terms that it's fairly quick and it's quite accurate. And that's just one example. It works really well. It's much better than trying to type in various things with some minute, tiny keyboards. So Siri works quite well with this. It just takes a little bit of getting used to. But you can access, open emails, text messages, and then you can really navigate well through the watch, as well as input and send out communications. So next up, I want to just quickly give you a demonstration of the app itself. All right, so I have my, it's going to be the watch app here. A lot of phones will come with it already loaded on there, which is nice. Very easy to set up. And so this is the main screen, so we can control pretty much everything. We can change the watch faces here. And you also have down here a face gallery. That's where you're going to dictate the photos. If you want to put in some custom photos within here, I have the one there that I put there. It's kind of a joke to display another smartwatch on this watch. but you can control your whole face gallery here. Quite a bit of controls with colors and so forth. I'm not going to go through every single option there. And here we can control our notifications. We can control the app layout, the dock. This is where you can put, insert, or remove various apps. General, you could see it. It's basic control, and then we have all the apps loaded in there, and these are additional apps that I've downloaded through the App Store. These are ones that'll load just via your Apple phone. Next up, I want to cover quickly the Health app. This is the Health app, and it's the home screen of it. So we've got activities, so we can input different workouts, and this is really good. You've got your basic information here. It'll recommend other apps, and here's what I like about it. You can insert a different workout. You just tap plus, and down here you can scroll over tons of activities that you can input and control. And then we'll go back. Mindfulness, you can just set the time for meditation sessions and that. But the nutrition section is amazing. Now, I don't track everything I eat, but I appreciate that people do. And you can track and input how much of pretty much anything food related that you consume. Now, a good example of how this is helpful, just because I've weightlifted a fair amount in the past, and a lot of people who weightlift will track their carbohydrates and their fat intake and their protein, especially their protein intake. That's a big one for people who are into working out, and so you can track that from day to day. But you can see you track a lot of different elements, minerals, vitamins, and so forth that you consume. Sleep, you just set the times and so forth when you sleep. Frankly, I'm not really sure why that would be done. Maybe, I guess, for people who have sleep difficulty, it's worthwhile. Fortunately, I don't. And then you have a bunch of, and this seems to be pretty in depth in terms of your actual medical health information. You can input your body measurements. You can have your health records migrated into here. You've got reproductive health information, and you got results and vitals. And all this information can be input into your app. It can be tracked over time. So you get a really robust snapshot of your overall health over time. So that can be pretty useful. I personally, I think the best thing going for this app is the activity portion of it. I think it's really good. It's easy to use, and there's a lot of information that you can put in. Although if I really tracked all my nutrition, I think that would be quite useful too. So that's a quick overview of the Apple Health app. It's quite good and compared to others, and it definitely does the job. And it's also nice because in whatever area there are additional apps recommended. So if you wanted to try something different, if you need something that's really built for a specific activity like running or swimming or something, you can get that and use that instead, or integrate it with the Health app. So that wraps up the review of the Apple S2 watch. Overall, I'd sure like to see a more, like a round version with more of a traditional dial watch face that looked just more like a more traditional, stylish, elegant watch. That'd be super if they came out with that in future versions. But in terms of a smartwatch and how it functions, it's very, very good. I would almost have to say flawless in a lot of ways. It's very user-friendly, very, very nice graphics, very efficient in terms of accessing the different apps that you want to use. Overall, just as a smartwatch, it's good.